Our history as Africans, right, is never told correctly in America. So first of all, we got to understand that. We've been given a lot of misinformation about who we are, why we're here. We've been called Negro, colored, we even call ourselves black. And black has this connotation of being negative throughout everything. Everything that's negative is black. So who created that? The Europeans brought our ancestors here over 400 years ago. They went to Africa, stole us, right? It was the Dutch. They first started 1619 or 1609, and particularly here in North America, they brought us here to this island here we call it New York, but it was originally called Manhattan by the Indians. This is their land, right? And the Dutch brought our ancestors here, and they started selling us down there where Chambers Street is, Wall Street, They would bring us up from the Henry Hudson River, march our behinds up in chains and whatnot. They would sell us, they would auction us off right there, and we were referred to as stock, right? That's where showing the connection with the New York Stock Exchange. Back in those days, animals, horses, pigs, farmers, they referred to them as stock. When they were selling our ancestors, they referred to us as stock as well. So as time goes by, these different people would exchange or share their stock. So that's how the New York Stock Exchange first got started, okay? Because we referred to as stock as well. When they brought us here, the Indians had this land called Manhattan, right? The Dutch had a deal, they renamed it New Amsterdam. And because the Dutch had a deal with the British to also bring enslaved Africans here as a favor to the British monarchy, this island was renamed New York after the Duke of York. It was that's where the name comes from. So we always have to remember and understand the origins of who we are and where we came from, because we've been lied to. See, when we came here, they took away our language. They took away everything, our culture. They did that purposely. So anything that they taught us going forward, we had to adapt to. This even what we're speaking right now. Sometimes you hear people from the South, everybody says, oh, they can't talk all country. Well, this is not their language. We had to learn how to speak. We had to learn how to say the instead of the. We had to learn how to say that instead of that. This is not our language. Our language was taken from us. So we had to adapt as time goes by. I was sharing with you before we came on, and I'm sorry to take so much time, but I'm just so bad. I was sharing with you 2 years ago today, I had gone to Ghana with my wife, right, on a vacation and to learn. And I found out so much about what I don't know. Being so-called, black nationalist, I thought I knew what I was talking about, right? I found I didn't know a damn thing. Not a damn thing about who we are. We've been lied to from the very, very beginning. We have sometimes scholars that can get up and articulate our culture, our history, because they've read what someone else wrote about us, and they are able to articulate it. So we think, oh damn, they know what the hell they talk about. But they only know what the man told them. So we have to understand, you mentioned why is this month, when we give 28 days, we're given crumbs. It's been like that. Don't expect anything different in America. Don't expect equality in America, ever. We gotta get off of that. Think of that, they're gonna treat us equal. They're not. This experiment called America is not gonna be for us. So we can, imagine this. I would prefer to have human rights. Malcolm was talking about human rights. It wasn't about civil rights. See, why should laws have to be passed so that we can have the same freedom as Europeans, or as they call white folks? Why does a law have to be passed so we can own a house, to get a good education? Laws had to be passed. I remember I was 13 years old. I was born and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, right? 13 years old. Me and my boys, like these girls, lived in the neighborhood, right? And the girls' parents belonged to NAACP. And they were getting ready to do the March on Washington, right? So me and my boys, we want to hang out with the little honeys, right? So we got our little money together, and we were there when Dr. King said the I Have a Dream speech. I did not hear him, because me and my boys was following the girls, right? Now, on the way back on the bus, did we find out why we went there? For the voting rights, for housing, you know. And then when we got back to Mount Vernon, we started marching up and down the street talking about Jim Crow must go, Jim Crow. I didn't know who the hell this dude Jim Crow was. I thought it was some white dude that nobody liked. It was laws that were passed. Coloreds can go in this place, whites here. Coloreds have to drink out of this fountain, whites here. Those were the Jim Crow. I learned so much that I didn't know. I was born, as I said, I was born and raised in Mount Vernon, New York. I am one of 14 children that my mother eventually had. I was in 3 or 4 different foster homes from age 8 till I was 13. And when I lived in Mount Vernon, the only refuge we had was at the local boys club, right? I'm a boys club head. Some of my members that attended boys club with me when I was a young kid are now world renowned. People know, I don't want to drop names, but everybody knows who my close friends are growing up as kids. And at that boys club, they laid out a wonderful foundation for us young men to follow. To the guy that used to direct the boys club, I still get guidance from him to this very day. I'm 72 years old. I met him when I was 8. So we're still in contact. I get guidance from him to this very day. We hang out, we're on the phone constantly. But what I started doing when I got older and working at the Apollo, I would walk around Harlem, you know, and I remember seeing this guy in this playground teaching these kids how to play basketball, right? And I said, wow, it reminds me of when I was a kid, right? You know, playing ball up in Mount Vernon. So I walk over to the coach. I said, Coach, he says, how you doing? I said, sir, do you mind if I talk to the kids for a minute? He says, well, who are you? I said, nobody. Can I just share something with the kids, you know? He says, go right ahead. So I started talking to the kids about camaraderie, about teamwork, about respecting one another, about their hygiene after they finish playing. Go home and wash that ass, you know, take a shower, you know. So I started, he says, man, you know, I'm here to teach them how to play basketball, but these are things that they need to hear. So I said, well, how do you run this program? He says, well, you know, we charge the families a little bit to teach the kids. I said, man, you need to become a non-for-profit. So I showed them how to become a non-for-profit. And then when I came out with my book, I said, well, I'm going to donate some of the proceeds to this organization. I've been doing that for 9 years. Then I got involved with a group, and that basketball team is called Playing on the Edge Basketball Program. They're in Harlem. Then I got involved with a group out here in Brooklyn called BALLA. And BALLA is the acronym, B-A-L-A-A. It means Big Apple Leadership Academy of the Arts, right? And what I also do, I also give them proceeds from the sale of my book to their program. So that's my way of giving forward whenever I'm asked to come and speak, you know, because even though I'm known as, I'm Billy Mitchell, you know, people, because I work at the Apollo, everybody knows me as Mr. Apollo, you know, and that has opened up the doors for me in so many ways. And I'm so grateful, you know, and I have no, because I have to remind people, you know, I'll answer to Mr. Apollo, but I have to remind people I'm Billy Mitchell. You know, I don't trip over that name. That was a job. It still is my job. I've been able to meet some incredible, you know, so-called celebrities in my time at the Apollo. Imagine I came there to run errands when I was 15 years old. I first walked through the door of the Apollo, and I started running errands for the Motown Review. Motown acts, the Temps and the Supremes, you know, and then I got into this relationship with James Brown and Marvin Gaye. And when they used to always talk to me about education. I was so damn tired of James Brown in my grill about education, man. And he would sit me down. He would, do you know how important it is? He would yell at me. And times, he would ask me, how you doing in school? And I always lied and told him I was doing great. Until that one day, bro, he made me go from the Apollo to the Bronx, get my report card and bring it back and show it to him. And when he saw that I had failed, he threatened that I was never allowed to come to the Apollo Theater ever again and run errands until I got my grades up. And that was the push I needed. And I went back to school. I started, raising my hand because I was bullied a lot. When I moved from Mount Vernon to the Bronx, I wasn't dressing like everybody. Through my whole junior high school, I was known as Stinky Boy because we didn't keep our hygiene together. That's how I was raised. My mother had all these kids, man. We just didn't keep ourselves clean. So when I finally graduated from high school, Mr. Brown was at a concert at Apollo, and he was telling me how proud I was and that I turned my life around as far as education. He said, so what are you going to do? I said, well, I want to go to business school, And he said, you got the money? I said, no, sir, I don't. He said, and then he pulled out this knot of money. Everybody knows my story at the Apollo. And he gave me the money along with the money that I saved from Marvin Gaye, and I enrolled in a business school and I started working on Wall Street in the fashion industry. That was from the 70s until the 80s, and then I left that world because I didn't like the way Europeans were talking to me because I'm a very proud, African, and I would clap back, Next they were showing my behind. I was like, you're fired. And I left the door with the finger up, I'm out of here. And then when Percy Sutton reopened the Apollo in 1984, I was offered a job as an usher. And then they gave me opportunities. I've held literally every position in the Apollo Theater over the years. And that's why the children of Harlem started calling me Mr. Apollo. I've never called myself that, ever, to this very day. I never walked in and said, how you doing? I'm Mr. Apollo. No, I'm Billy Mitchell. They call me Mr. Apollo. And that's why I named the title of my book, They Call Me Mr. Apollo. So, but I give back to the community, and it feels good to give back, because there are kids watching you, brother. There are kids watching me, there's kids watching you, and they watch by our example, how we move and things like that. So hopefully we're making a difference. We're not giving up. My man Pop Gaskin, we're going to chop it up. There's some plans that those of us in this room here, there's some things we want to do to make change and make changes. And that's on us. That is that we can't wait for somebody else to do what we need to do for ourselves. So. Everybody's stressed out about something. I don't know if it was because of the pandemic or we're not getting resources that we need. You have people that have mental issues that are violent. They're killing people, they're stabbing people. Listen, my head is on a swivel whenever I walk down the street. I am at the age now, I will not let nobody walk up on me. I don't let anybody walk up on me. I'm gonna stare you down. You're not gonna walk up on me. My wife has a tendency to look straight ahead. I said, girl, look, turn around, man. Don't let nobody walk up on us because people are walking up on people, hit them in the head with hammers. They're stabbing for no reason except that there's something wrong with them and they need help. And again, they're not giving it to us. They're not giving it to us. They want us. They'll rather see us kill each other off than lock us up or either kill us because we need help. Mental issues in my family. Sometimes people don't like to talk about what they're going through. They think that I'm just in the mood. You may have a mental problem and you're afraid to go get the help because there's always the stigmatizing of it, or that was crazy as hell, It could be something wrong. I remember a few years ago when my parents died months apart, my sister died weeks after that, and Michael Jackson died. Now, and I used to freak out on planes. I would go on business trips or I would literally freak out and have panic attacks, anxiety attacks on the plane. Police were waiting for me a couple of times. And then when I got back to New York, I wasn't able to go into the subways. I would walk down the subway and all of a sudden I back out because I felt like the walls were caving in on me. And I said, something is wrong. I stopped taking the subway, So I started taking, I didn't have a car back then. I started taking a cab from where I lived out here in Brooklyn all the way to the Apollo. It was costing me $45 a trip there and back. I did that for about 4 months. And then I said, man, you need some help. There's something going on here. So I went and sat down with a therapist, and we talked to them. They found out that I was going through a shock of the passing of my parents and my sister, who I loved dearly. And then I was a Michael Jackson group. I love me some Michael Jackson because I first saw Michael when he was 10 years old, when he first did Amateur Night at the Apollo. I was there. I saw him and his brothers, and I followed his career. But it affected something in my brain, and I knew something was wrong. And I had no problem to go and see the therapist. Thank God I had the coverage, because sometimes we don't have access to therapy, and we just walk around and we do things, and it's too late. But another thing, I was reluctant because they always, when you go to therapy, they want to put you on a strong-ass pill. When I went to them, they said, we're going to prescribe Xanax to you. I said, no, you ain't either. That's damn sure. You are not going to have me walk around here. Now, Xanax was good for certain people because, there's different levels of illnesses. And I've seen people on that drug, and some people refused to take it because it was just making them feel uncomfortable. And because in my past, I said, I don't do drugs no more. I'm from the 60s. I done did them all. You understand? I don't do no drugs, nothing. I don't smoke no weed. I don't drink. I don't do none of that, right? So because it's just not good for me. I'm not knocking anybody's, thing. It just doesn't work for me. So they wanted the mental thing is something that we have to get. I meditate a lot. I talk to the Creator all the time. I talk to God all the time. And what I found out, I had to find my own God. See, you say you raised up in the church, and I was too, but I had questions and issues. That's just me personally. I'm not knocking anything. And then I had to find something that I knew there was a higher power, and I found it in not being a part of whether you're Catholic or whether you're Pentecostal or whether you're Baptist or whether you're Muslim or whether you're Buddhist, but I found a higher power that I found was loving, that was there for me even when I didn't know it, and that's when I've been rock and roll. It's a spiritual thing. It is so deep, and it works for me, man. It doesn't work. Some people, they go to church, but I go to church with my wife to support her religion. I sit up there in church, and she'll take out that tithe and put it in the thing, and I'll be saying, damn, girl, where that money going? You understand? But it is what it is. I found that mental strengthening is so important with all of us. We have to make sure that we're mentally stable, because we can be triggered just like this, like you said, guys be driving cars, man, cutting you off, man. Oh, that drives me nuts. First of all, it scares the hell out of me. These fast cars, going in and out of traffic, they got cars that sound like somebody's firing off guns and whatnot, and it raises your pressure up. So you just gotta take a deep breath and just say, all right, just calm down, man. Just calm down. Thank God you weren't hurt, give thanks to the Creator for seeing you. On the way here, I'm thanking God that I get here safe, that when we're talking, that the words flow, that my mind is right, that the Creator protects everybody in this room on their way home. I always, and even when I was a young kid, I used to ask God to stop people from laughing at me and my family because we were poor. Didn't know He was always there with me. He had a plan for me that I didn't even know. I used to be broke, bro. Now, I'm not professing I got a lot of money. I'm good. I'm better than I ever was, and I thank the Creator for that. But you have to put work into. You just can't say, well, think it's gonna just come to you. You gotta get out there and grind. And I've been grinding and grinding to the point where, at 72 years old, I should have been retired by now. But I have a large family. Somebody in my family always needs, and I feel real bad if I can't help them out and I got it. That's the way my parents would always tell me, Billy, your brothers and sisters, man, they take advantage of your generosity. I said, Mom and Dad, I know what it's like to not have. I used to hope somebody would walk up to me and hand me, here's $20. Because there never times I was broke. And I used to have to borrow money from people and stuff like that. And I felt so bad for doing it, but now I'm just so grateful and fortunate. And I think the Creator that I'm in a good space right now. I only work because I'm helping family out. I don't have to work right now. I've been smart enough to invest and do things. I'm only working and plus I like what I do. And I work with Apollo, man. You know what I mean? And that pumps up your chest and it builds my ego. Because I still got a little ego here. I ain't gonna front, you go places, people know you and whatnot. It builds my ego, but I keep my mental balanced. I try to stay, level. I keep it balanced at all times. Try to. There's a few people that I know that came from nowhere and are now doing the damn thing. And not only doing it for themselves, but others, And it's, I don't like to drop the names of my friends, but it's just a fact. Growing up with a guy named Denzel Washington, right? One of my close friends since I was a kid. The first movie that I ever did, in which people saw me and heard me speak, was a movie with Denzel and my favorite soul on the screen was Malcolm X. That was the first time. I used to do a lot of extra work, New York Undercover, Law and Order, all that. And so I've known Denzel since he was 8 years old. His wedding, I spoke with him every day. But no, he's known all over the world. Now the average person can't call up a celeb like that, right? And I understand that. I don't hang out with him like we used because he's got a different crew, but we're still boys. There's so many people that, oh God, there's one of my friends is in the TV show Snowfall, he was a bartender at the Apollo. I remember when he went out to LA, I said, man, here's some contacts. And now he had nothing. He's on Snowfall. So there's men and women that were part of my journey that I know that are doing some remarkable things. And they all did it because they worked hard, man. They worked hard. These things did not come overnight. None of these things came overnight for these people. A lot of people might think that there is no reward, but I tell you, and I tell my brother that, he's a comedian in this room right now. He did the Apollo Amateur. Now his brother's doing big things. I'm so proud of him. And he said it started with him doing the Apollo. And so you see, he's just only gonna get better. He's gonna get world known. I remember when my best friend, his daughter is Kim Fields. So I remember Kim was a little baby, So these are people who, and they give back. It's not that their celebrity status makes them, people don't hear about the things that Denzel does. They just don't. They just assume he's not doing them because he's one of these real secret type of guys. He's not that Hollywood. He does not always talk about things that he does. If the media finds out, cool. But he is he's very, very generous. And his wife, Pauletta, and I've known, before they got married. I mean, can you imagine? I knew this dude when he was a little boy. A little boy on the same track team, same football, Pop Warner football. And now to see him, what he's doing in the world, it only fills me with pride. And I really never like to talk about this. Is the longest I've ever talked about Denzel in an interview ever, because I don't like to talk about friends of mine that have made it. I really don't. Because people sometimes, he front, but that's man, I don't do things. Sometimes I put things on Facebook And I feel bad that I posted to being celebrity friends because people say, oh, there you go bragging. But I only do that to inspire people. Every time I post something, it's only to inspire and not to front. Right. You know, like, you know, yeah, you think you're, because I don't know how to, I don't know how to receive, I still not receive this thing that people know me all over the world because of my job. You know, people come to Apollo, I give them tours, so they post it, they know I do interviews from everybody from Japan to Germany, Paris, you know, and it's just because of my job, people know who I am. But again, I'm still Billy Mitchell. You know, I'm not who they, people think I'm some dude, man. I'm not, man. I'm just myself, you know. This poem is written by a sister by the name of Juliet Domingo O'Connor. And it talks about us as a people, because we're all from different areas, different backgrounds, different countries, but the poem is called Have You Seen My People? And it goes like this. Have you seen my people? They come to this new land in which I reside, and they do not seem to know me. They don't seem to remember that we all come from the same homeland. They tell me that they come from this island and that island, this country and that country. They do not see me as their kind, but they are my people. Have you seen my people trying to forget, not caring if we ever met, but they are my people. Have you seen my people looking the other way, not understanding my land as it is today? They may have a different accent, a different tongue, but they are my people. We mate, and we have children. Tell me, what do we call our children? A long time ago it was said we would not speak the same tongue, and we would not know one another. That prophecy has been fulfilled. I have witnessed the outcome, the confusion when our children do not know who they are in a land where all blacks are equal. When you see my people, tell them for me, the seeds of our forefathers have been scattered through many lands. Tell my people it doesn't matter where we come from, we are the same race of people. Tell my people, I understand. I can see through the maze of false values that separates us from the spiritual forces of our forefathers. When you see my people, tell them, one day we will all understand and come into our common bond to love one another and share each other's knowledge. Tell my people, the spiritual forces of our forefathers is running through our veins. And I love them. One day, they will see me and love me. We will unite and spread love, the vibration of the universe amongst all people. Thank you so much.